This is a great panel I'm hosting here, and it's very heterogeneous. We have here the representatives from the regulator, Filip, throughout the software companies, nearly an incumbent one, Dzenan from TIS, Kristijan from venITure, and in the end, Hrvoje from the standard Fintech. And we will discuss with all my esteemed guests what are the chances of a small country as Croatia it is right now to really have a horse in the global race, at least in the regional. What are the different perspectives that all these people here with their rich experiences have when it comes to growth? So let me start first with the incumbent, so to speak. Dzenan is the CEO of a company that has been on the Croatian market for 30 plus years. And it started from Croatia, but it spread internationally. Dzenan, how did you make your transformation to the Fintech? It's not very common to be able to do that. Isn't that paradoxical in a way?
Well, maybe we could start with definition of the Fintech. The basic definition says that Fintech is either a company that is delivering financial services to the end clients, and the other type of the company that is considered Fintech would be the IT company that actually delivers technology and solutions to the companies that deliver financial services to the end clients and users. That also is acknowledged by Hanfa, but Filip might tell you more about that later. So this is where we fit in this second part of the definition, and it is not so new for us. Basically, from the beginning, from the founding, we started selling software to the banks, and very fast after the company was founded, almost every bank in Croatia and Slovenia was our client. But the real story begins in the early 90s when we developed the payment system application, and we implemented it in Slovenian banks. And since then, we have the teams that are dedicated only to the banking and to the banking industry, and we have business analysts and developers that are focused solely on solving the problems in banking industry, so not doing the other things. After that, also the crucial moment for us was Slovenia, so we started expanding. When Slovenia was joining the SIPA area, we helped biggest Slovenian banks to also implement SIPA payment instruments, and later also we helped them convert to euro, what we are also looking forward to do in Croatia very soon. Leveraging on that experience and those products that we already had, so we were a very important stakeholder also in Croatia when Croatia joined SIPA. And we were involved in the projects in FINA, in the central node, the projects for credit transfer, for direct debit, and recently also in the project for implementing instant payments, which was rolled out a few weeks ago. Besides that, we are happy to say that 5 out of 6 biggest banks in Croatia also are a client in the area of SIPA, and some of those have our products, some of those have used our consultancy services. And also we have a SaaS offering, it's called Fintis, that is like a joint venture with FINA that actually enables companies to enable actually their end customer to pay for the services by using direct debit payment instrument. Also, what is very important is that in 2011 also we started expanding to the UK market with all the experience that we already had from the local market. And today also we are proud to say that 6 out of 10 biggest UK banks are our customers, and we delivered projects in those institutions. And also a large number of smaller banks as well as a large number of the fintechs. And very often we are there considered as a company that is a bridge between banks and fintechs. We help them integrate, we help them to comply with the regulations, etc., etc. Also in the near future, since we have a number of products for various purposes, also we are looking to expand into the region, into the countries that will also join SIPA. and we're looking for the local partners, and we already have some negotiations about that, so they will also help us. We are probably not going to be present as established a company, but are looking also into it.
Great, so it's a very nice trajectory from Croatia through Slovenia to the UK. Kristijan here, he had a different way. He was born in Croatia, but he grew up in Germany. He decided to start his own company in Germany, in Köln, but then he moved back to Croatia and even further down south to Turkey. So what, besides obviously the patriotic reasons, what brought you back to Croatia, and what are your experiences, Kristijan? What do we have to offer in comparison with your German office? What's so interesting in Croatia?
Yeah, so actually Germany is still a big brand. If you just hear companies from Germany, good, and so on. So this is kind of a standard still, and Croatia had to tackle with that, or any other smaller company. You know? So, and actually what we only have had here in Croatia was tourism mainly, no? And we didn't have such big companies, especially not in the tech industry or somewhere. No? So, and this actually recently changed quite a lot. No? So when we see, just as an example, like Infobip, if we see a combination of tech and production, Remats, so these are, let's say, all companies where big investors are also getting in more and more. No? And this is actually showing a big brand of Croatia outside of Europe, outside of, or within Europe and outside of Europe. No? So, and this is actually a big thing. So, and so what we did in that aspect is what, okay, we opened here an office. So, in order to serve this market here as well, but also, let's say, to give more opportunities to everyone within Croatia here. No? So, and that's why Croatia, and not only Croatia, also this region we are going to tackle more and more, like Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So these are really interesting regions actually for our business.
And I'm sure it helps that your offices are at the Croatian coast, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. So this is also one thing actually what's different to Germany. In Germany actually what you have is that the people, or it depends on where they actually come from, or the Germans, they say, okay, they're working, and then, I don't know, at 4 or 5, okay, it's over. So here it's a little bit different. No? And if you do some business, here it's still, so maybe it's going to change with Corona a little bit, but still you go on a coffee, you go for lunch. So this kind of change from B2C to human was kind of already a big thing in Croatia a long time ago. No? But this is a tradition which is actually going inside of Europe and outside of Europe. So going to coffee, going for lunch to do business. So, yeah.
Thank you. Hrvoje, a question for you. So Hrvoje's company called Aircash, it's an e-wallet solution, and I think something like 3% of all Croatian citizens are having it installed on their mobile phones. That's an achievement per se, but since Croatia is a small country, can we expect you spreading internationally? And what about the contenders? We all know about the TransferWise and the similar companies, similar wallets, Revolut as well. We also learned yesterday that the overall global market for remittances is like $700 billion a year. So where do you see your growth potential in that?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, good maths. I would say that 3% of Croatian population currently use Aircash. We are constantly growing, and we would like to, let's say, make a copy and paste of this growth also in the other countries. That would be an answer to your scaling question. Maybe just a few words about Aircash. So it's not a pure money transfer solution. It's a mobile wallet. People use okay, to transfer money between themselves, but also to pay for different services like, I don't know, utility bills, like parking, like buying tickets, like paying to the online accounts, e-gaming, and something, you know, people like to use different payment methods for those type of payments, for these types of merchants. The question is why? What do we offer to them? We offer simplicity. We always have this one-tap principle. We would like to minimize the number of taps customer needs to do to make a payment. So they like simplicity, they like and appreciate security, and they also appreciate privacy. This is, if this is something what we can offer to the clients, they will use mobile wallets. Of course, from the other point of view, there are regulations. We are regulated the financial institution, we are electronic money institution with a license issued by Croatian National Bank. But additionally answering to your question, we have passported our license to the European Banking Authority, and we can issue e-money across all EU member states and enable customers to do payments. So definitely, the question, if we go to the main question of our panel, definitely I would say that Croatia is in a good position. We think it is in a good position. Croatia is a member of the European Union. All regulations are harmonized across the European Union. So definitely, I would say there are no barriers to enter markets of, I don't know, like from neighboring markets, from Slovenia, Hungary, to the biggest European markets like Germany, okay, even Austria. We have a significant, as Kristijan said, we have significant potential client base there. Our citizens, they were born there, they moved there, they work there, who already use different tools to transfer money, different tools to pay for something, for some goods and services in Croatia. So definitely, I would say yes. We have plans. We have exact plans to scale our business activities on the territories of the European Union, mostly Austria, Germany, and Slovenia. We do preparations. We build the network, and hopefully very soon in 2021, Aircash wallet will be present on these markets.
Okay, that's great to hear. And I think also that your plans for entering these markets are interesting, because we all know that these markets, DACH region and Slovenia, Croatia obviously, they have still a high percentage of cash. So I think 85% or even more of all transactions in these countries are still cash-based. Yeah. So there's lots of potential there. But let's talk a bit more with the regulator, or at least their representative. Filip, here, Filip is in charge of Fintech Innovation Hub that was founded by the regulator here in Croatia. And actually, I like very much your job description. It says, and I quote, "Analyzing the implications of new technology solutions in the context of regulated business with an emphasis on market integrity, systemic risks, and consumer protection." So I have a question for you. Do you really have a lot to do? And the second question is, what happens when a tattooed anarchist enters your office with a great business idea to undermine banks?
Well, thank you for this question. Maybe the easiest way to answer is to say that the real answer is the reason why Hanfa was the first regulator in Croatia to introduce Innovation Hub. Because when you deal with some true technological innovations in heavily regulated industry, such as financial services, that kind of products don't usually fit very good, very neatly with the regulatory framework. Sometimes, as we can see with the crypto assets, they maybe fall outside of existing regulatory framework. So the regulators need to adapt their tools to be more flexible when approaching that kind of projects and that kind of business ventures. I would like maybe to describe two types of cases we deal with. First types is, let's call them the whitelist projects. especially every business venture dealing with financial innovation, I think should ask themselves what kind of benefit do they bring to the consumers. If they can show the material evidence that they promise real, I don't know, better security, cheaper, more accessible financial services, faster financial services, then usually maybe they don't fit perfectly in the regulation, but they're on the good side of that regulation. And we can see some kind of blacklist in everyday work of Innovation Hub. Most common one is completely legitimate business, and we can call that innovation theater. That's pretty common recently because lots of subjects want to have a label of innovation, like it's a buzzword. We are working with Fintech, and they are just issuing some kind of new application with nice design, and it's completely legitimate business, but beneath the hub of that application, there is no real innovation. So usually it fits perfectly within the regulatory framework. And maybe the worst part, we are putting the financial crime, of course, out of this conversation. And maybe the worst part in smaller countries like Croatia is if you are dealing with financial services and you are not trying to implement any kind of financial innovation in your business. Because eventually, in the mid-term and definitely in the long term, you will be or out of the business or your cake in the market will be lower. Like the Aircash mentioned, the open market, such as the European market, is an opportunity. They can easily, from the legal point of view, transfer their business outside of Croatia, but we witness the different trend, maybe even more obvious, because if you are a smaller market, the big market players in the European Union can easily enter your market and just like take your business. So that's the coin with both sides.
So I take it then that Hrvoje's solution is on your whitelist.
It seems so, yeah.
Okay, great. So let me switch to a different topic. Recently, Croatia was in the focus of some acquisitions that were pretty uncommon for such a small market. We saw lots of investment into Rimac, for instance. Some of the companies in gaming arena were sold for relatively big amount of money. And we also are witnessing currently the birth of the first Croatian unicorn, Infobip. So I would like to ask you, my guests, what do you think is Infobip's case helping setting up the proper foundations to the whole startup ecosystem in Croatia? I will start with Kristijan this time.
Yes, actually. So Infobip, I guess everyone knows here in Croatia, and we also recently became, at the beginning of the year, partner with Infobip. So we are on the one hand Atlassian solution partner, and on the other hand Infobip solution partner as well. So we are implementing both solutions to all of our customers, let's say, in the regions of not only in this region of Croatia, but also, let's say, in DACH region and Turkey. And there are coming more and more offices in Middle East quite soon. So, and this is actually a huge potential. So, because what Atlassian does on one side, it has, I think, 75 or 85%, they say, of the Fortune 500 companies worldwide. So everyone who's using Jira, Confluence, Trello, and so on is using actual Atlassian products. No? And on the other hand, you have Infobip, which is actually, where you can use the omni-channels they are offering worldwide. And this kind of combination is a perfect fit into our business and what we are actually doing, and where we also want to go in the future. No? So, and yeah, so that's why, yeah.
So it's definitely a plus, right?
Yes.
So Dzenan, a little bird told me that your company was early in its days back then connecting banks to telcos. So you were doing something very similar to what Infobip is doing today. Do you consider them a competitor or somebody who had enough power, so to speak, to push on the idea? Are you sorry for not following that idea through?
Well, I was not involved in that in those days. So that was one department. They were maybe ahead of the time. So they had a very similar solutions, but at that moment, banks were not, and the clients were not interested in buying that because they were solving those problems in different way. But what we then saw as an opportunity was merging that part of the company with a larger European company, and that was the idea of how to expand to other markets. Well, but the execution wasn't as good as the Infobip, so definitely congratulations to Infobip, everything what they have achieved.
Okay, Filip, you're here a representative of, I would call it an establishment. How does the establishment look at Infobip's success without obviously, you know, being very proud of and taking pictures with these guys? But how do you, as a member of regulator, look at them?
I never had that opportunity to have pictures with them, but generally speaking, obviously, that's an obvious answer. We can believe that their success will have some kind of network effect for Croatia. It doesn't have any direct connections with the public sector. We can see the similar approaches in other smaller countries, like when they have some bigger IT company, they usually have network effects on the smaller IT companies and developing of the new products. Of course, it's almost impossible to predict the final goals of those new products and the results of those new products, but I believe we will see in the next few years some kind of results. And the most important thing is that basically the IT is the backbone of any financial innovation. If we just take and look on biggest fintech companies in the world, I don't know, the biggest insurtech company in the world, let's name them, like Lemonade. Almost all of their employees, I don't know, something like three quarters, I think, maybe I'm wrong, are from the STEM. They are not from the legal or financial background. They need legal guys to do regulatory stuff and maybe financial guys for the core business. But most of the other part of the business they developed is developed around the IT. So if you have the strong IT company and the strong IT sector, you have good basic layer, just basic layer to develop fintech products. So I hope that we will see in Croatia not just IT companies who are serving fintech companies and financial services in their development, but who will develop the vertically integrated fintech products, like Lemonade, for example.
Okay, thank you. This led me nicely into the next topic, also connected in a way with Infobip. There is the other side of the coin here. Infobip, being big as it is, announced that it's going to hire in the next couple of years a huge number of engineers locally and regionally. So, Hrvoje, aren't you afraid that Infobip will take, because it's very sexy to work for them, and it's slightly less sexy to work for Aircash, aren't you afraid that they're going to take your best engineers, your best stuff?
No, I don't think about it, and I don't think that's really an issue. They're a great company. These companies, as you said, are miracle. Infobip, Primats, Nanobit, Infinum, perfect companies, great companies, and it's very good. They have also people and workforce from abroad who came to Croatia. We are always talking about, you know, immigration of people moving out from Croatia to Germany, to Austria. But in these companies, you have people that move to Croatia from abroad to work there. So I would say these companies will make a demand for skilled workforce to come to Croatia. What is great? What is great story? And I think so. There is no fear. It would be a. And this is one thing. Another thing is that popularization of success of these companies, putting them on the main stage, on the headlines, on the TV, on the internet, will probably, let's say, move youngsters, younger people to go in the technical area, to go, as Filip said, in STEM area, but not only STEM area. Success of these companies will probably attract people from with other skills like finance, technology, legal, because companies, one company is, let's say, complex organization. Technology company doesn't have only technology workforce. You see in the USA, in last, I don't know, 5-10 years, you see a big big movement of financial and legal guys from New York, from Wall Street, to Silicon Valley to work for the biggest companies. Now you don't have anymore the best legal experts, the best, I don't know, finance experts to work, I don't know, for the banks. They work for Amazon, they work for Google, Facebook, and other companies. So I would say it's great, it's good, it's great on any, the answer on all of your questions. Maybe just one thought on let's say, why these companies were successful and are successful and will be successful, and why do I think that there will be also more and more these companies? You see the background. You see in Croatia, when you read in the newspapers or on portals, when you see, I don't know, you have Olympic Games in maths, in IT. You always have our Croatians, let's say from high schools, who go there, I don't know, to Olympic Games, always with a medal, at least a silver medal or gold medal from maths, from the IT. So I would say we have a good background to build companies like this. And maybe just one last thought. It was published a month ago. I think it's the only category. Croatia is on the #1 position in the European Union. It's not COVID. It's a digital literacy among youngsters. So Croatia is #1. Estonia #2. So there is a potential also to develop, but also to accept, to have a, let's say, a basic market. We have a potential to also accept new digital solutions in any area because of that.
And I guess you are all fighting for the same resources from the same relatively limited pool. So every year, I guess, in Croatia, I think there is slightly above 1,000 people coming out the university from the STEM area. So it's relatively limited, and there's lots of companies, international ones, also opening their offices in Croatia. So what are your plans, not only yours, Hrvoje, but all of yours? Are you going to grab into some other neighboring pools of resources, for instance, former Yugoslavia or Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, Albania, to do some kind of a nearshoring maybe? And what would help you in that? What kind of legislative would help you in that? If Croatia gets opened a bit more towards import of skilled resources, or what would you suggest, Hrvoje?
Yeah, if we make a demand, if there will be great companies in Croatia, the demand to work in these companies will exist. So people will arrive here. People don't need to physically arrive all the time. They can work remotely. We all work remotely for, I don't know, 7 months, 8 months. So it's not mandatory to move formally, I don't know, to Croatia to participate and work for a Croatian company. So I would say yes, it's important for demand to grow, and demand is growing. Croatia is becoming, let's say, by some steps recognized as a country where technology company can exist, can make a big role on a global scale. So I would say we are building a good PR of the country in that way. Regarding the countries you mentioned, very probably yes. The answer is very probably yes. there are quotes, something is going on there, but it's not mandatory for persons to be there, to be here. Maybe one comment for Romania. Romania is a well developed market for technology companies, and I would say that we are, I think, in a taxation policy, in a policy of supporting IT companies, so it would be tough exactly for Romania to attract IT experts from there.
Okay, thanks. Dzenan and Kristijan, your companies, respective companies basically have the same amount of people, around 100. So how many people are you going to employ next year?
Okay, so we usually at the beginning of the year we start with the plans about employing 20 to 30. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we employ 26 and, I don't know, 10 of them leave, whatever. So it is actually a matter of availability at the market. We are also trying to expand in a different way in outsourcing and nearshoring. We tried exploiting also the neighboring countries, but it can be difficult. And maybe with this COVID thing and when remote is new normal, so maybe it will be easier to, let's say, not maybe employ somebody, but to engage just a remote worker. Maybe it might be better for us. But also, it depends for what you need someone. If you need somebody who is proficient in some area, or especially who knows the local market, then you need maybe somebody from the local market. Let's say, when you look at the fintechs and the things also, the products that we develop, you will hear a lot about user experience, you will hear a lot about payments. But if you go to UK, if you look at the fintechs that we work for, then you'll see there are a lot of areas that are still uncovered, are a problem of that specific market. Let's say in UK, one of the problems that fintechs usually solve is credit score. So the credit score is there, very important. When you employ somebody, you check their credit score. When they apply for a mortgage or for a loan, they have to present their credit score. And a lot of the fintechs are actually dealing with bad credit score, and they improve your credit score when you engage with them. So that's what I want to say. So it is something that we don't know about, but somebody local will know.
Kristijan?
Yes.
How many people?
So actually the digital transformation within companies has been growing the last years, you know it as well, and this is where our expertise is, so helping companies in digital transformation. No? So yes, within our company group we are planning to grow, no? For sure, not directly maybe in Croatia, but we're trying to explore more, let's say, other regions where our service is needed, so to help companies actually in that digital transformation, so to improve their business processes within a company with, let's say, standardized tools like Jira, like Confluence, and also to provide them, let's say, to improve with their customer experience through these kind of different kind of chats like WhatsApp, SMS, Infobip is actually offering. So and this is what Hrvoje said. So there is, of course, let's say, a huge, bigger companies coming in Croatia and the needs of qualified people. But but on the other hand, it's good. So digital nomad visa is going to come. So where actually it's more easy for external people to live here in Croatia, to work here as well. And there are also some tax regulations. So, you know, like in Germany, there is a big difference if you have an employee which costs you, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 netto. So it's still, let's say, less expensive in Germany to have such an employee. So these are things, I think, as I remember, 1 year or 2 years ago, Mate Rimac put down a list of 10 changes which the government should do. And these would be big changes for companies and for all kind of companies, let's say, to to better work here within Croatia. No? And this tax changes is just one thing, which is actually a big thing.
Okay, we know that gaming is a booming industry in Croatia. Fintech, obviously, we have a number of very successful companies. We also have a leader in electric vehicles manufacturing. There's a number of other industries in Croatia, but somehow I think that under the radar is a booming crypto scene. And whenever we talk about crypto, it's inevitable these days, especially when your conference is called Shift Money. It's inevitable whenever we mention crypto to see the smirking from the regulator. Filip is already looking at me dangerously. So, Filip, your take on crypto.
Okay, thank you. Well, basically, most of the business dealing with crypto assets today are still outside of regulatory framework, except the anti-money laundering. But nevertheless, during the ICO season in 2017, I think that lots of questions, lots of papers, lots of emails was just addressed to the regulators and to the Hanfa and to the regulators worldwide, especially when people lose money. They ask regulator, someone take my money, I lose all my money, what happened? And then regulators just have the tool to issue some kind of notice, be aware of unregulated business. You can lose all your money, or don't fall for scams, don't throw your money away. That's pretty soft law tool. But now we can see in the context of the like the white label crypto businesses, because the European Union recognized that there is a crypto industry within the European Union, and we can see that in Croatia, and therefore there is new regulation in developing in European Union, markets in crypto assets regulation, that will put the crypto asset industry in some sort of regulatory framework, give them legitimate space to work, and clear rules to conduct their business. And we can expect that probably after that, those crypto asset businesses will be more integrated in legacy system financial services. Before that, it's pretty much, I don't know, it's always business to business case. Will some legacy industry business play and work with some, I don't know, like, what did you say, like tattoo IT guy dealing with cryptos?
Okay, so I'm glad to hear that you don't hate it that much. I'm sorry, I kind of clustered you guys. I put Dzenan and Kristijan together because their businesses are similar in a way. So let me provoke you with a question. So what if one of your clients came up to you and asked you to develop a smart contract of sorts for any kind of need they would need, for any kind of service they would create? So smart contracting, obviously, on cryptocurrency, on blockchain, on Ethereum, are something that are not still common nowadays in standard development companies. So what would you do, Dzenan?
Okay, so it wouldn't be a problem for us, because since the crypto hype came, so we already established a team of few analysts that were looking into it and did a proof of concepts for some of the clients. And basically part of what we do is also the integrations. Integration team is already integrating people with the general ledgers and institutions. So we already have the knowledge, and we would probably also look into some help from the outside for some details. And we would then get on to work.
Kristijan?
Yeah. We do not have so much experience right now with developing, let's say, in something in crypto or in the finance sector. So our tools are actually there to help these companies to work properly. No? So Atlassian is serving, I don't know, a huge number of big banks, a huge number of, let's say, all these kind of fintechs, which are actually using that software to be able to develop something like that.
Okay, some of you know maybe that a couple of weeks ago, Steve Wozniak borrowed his name to a new cryptocurrency, which boomed soon to a valuation of 1 billion. So when I will be able to store my Wozniaks on Aircash wallet?
The answer is I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, the issue is
let's say bitcoins then.
I know. The challenge is, I have to be frank. The challenge is, so we are a regulated financial institution. So we have supervision performed by the regulatory entity, and also we work with the banks. So we always need to anticipate what some of our business decisions would be, let's say, what would be their perception in the eyes of the regulator and our banks we partner with. So this is why the answer is I don't know.
Okay, thanks. Let's wait for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, since we have two more minutes to go, I would like to do a bit of a shameless promotion of Croatia, and I would like to ask all of you just to give me one sentence for the worldwide auditorium out there. What do you think, why would it be wise to move to Croatia to live, to move to Croatia to get employed, to invest to Croatia, to basically consider Croatia as somebody who has a horse in this race? Filip.
I think that it's pretty obvious why someone from Northern Europe should move to Croatia. But from the financial services perspective and fintech, I think that Croatia have pretty dynamic and small scene, and that Croatian regulators are maybe easier to access and reach. I don't know, if you try to develop some fintech in Germany, you will maybe be, I don't know, one in few hundred of companies. In Croatia, you will be one of few companies. So it's much more easier to access public services and regulators than, I don't know, in UK, for example.
Great, I think it's a great message. Dzenan?
Well, also some of the reasons are obvious: good climate and good balance of work and life. But definitely there is a pool of great talents here. I wouldn't advise anyone to come here and establish a company expecting a company of 500 people, but there are a lot of companies that can help you in your journey. Maybe if you more do something like integrator and you have a business idea, and you do not just see us as a company, as a country where you will find resources for outsourcing, and want to do that.
Great. Kristijan, you already did that, but still.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, well, what they say already, so it's the climate, so it's you have beautiful country, so from mountains, from the sea, from islands, so you can actually do in this country everything you want to do, let's say, if you combine multiple countries. So that's why I also chose to move here back more and more. And also to keep our, let's say, young talented people here, so they do not need to move somewhere else. No? So to have them here, so they have here very good opportunities more and more. No? And if we improve a little bit our bureaucracy, no? So that we just recently, I know, removed this kind of stamp on every paper. So this was a big thing already. So, and it goes into the right direction.
Awesome. Hrvoje, the closing sentence.
Croatia, it's safe. It's in a great position. It's part of the biggest and the most stable political union in the world, European Union. It has history. It has really great natural beauties from the seaside, from the mountains. It's stable. It has really great people who live there. It's technology from the technology level. It's well developed. Infrastructure for making companies is great. Digital literacy, internet availability. So there is no reason for anybody in the world not to move to Croatia. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. You've been excellent guests.